The iPhone 15 and 15 Plus were announced recently at the latest Apple event, and their upgrades include the Dynamic Island, the A16 Bionic Chip, a 48 megapixel main camera, and a screen with 2000 nits max brightness. But you know what else has all those things plus twice the refresh rate and an additional camera? The iPhone 14 Pro, which you can pick up for the same $800 price as the iPhone 15. You can even get the 14 Pro for as low as $600 if you go for a used model. So today we're talking iPhone 15 and 15 Plus upgrades, and as we make our way through the list, you'll see this phone sits very much in the shadow of the iPhone 14 Pro. Let's start with new iPhone 15 features that didn't come from the 14 Pro. We'll work our way in from the exterior. The iPhone 15 has a glass back that's now matte, the aluminum sides are ever so slightly rounded, the camera bump has a smooth transition into the back, and the phone is available in 5 new colors. I absolutely co-sign the matte texture and the new colors that get darker under the camera module, but beyond that I'd say the changes are negligible. The iPhone 15 now has a USB-C port, which I see as a win for everybody, since now the latest Macs, iPads, and iPhones will use the same cable for charging and connecting, and that's of course in addition to all the Android and Windows devices that have made USB-C as universally accepted as it is today. The cameras on the iPhone 15 become more powerful with enhanced software features, so now depth data is captured automatically when you take pictures of people or pets, or when you tap to focus. You can use that data to turn on portrait mode and even change the focus point all after the photo was taken. Apple wants 24 megapixel photos to become the new standard, so the iPhone 15 will shoot these high resolution photos by default. Also, night mode and smart HDR are improved on this phone. There's a second gen ultra wideband chip in here, which allows you to use precision finding for Find My Friends, which you can think of as GPS but on a small scale, like a store or a crowd. Do be aware, both phones have to have this second gen chip to unlock the up to 3x extended range Apple touted during the event. There's also voice isolation for removing background noise from phone calls in loud environments. And if you remember emergency SOS via satellite from last year, that's now been expanded to include roadside assistance via satellite handled by AAA. This basically just expands the situations where you can contact emergency services without Wi-Fi or a cell signal, and it's free for 2 years after buying a phone. So, those are all the features exclusive to the iPhone 15, as opposed to being brought over from the iPhone 14 Pro. Now we're going to get into those carryover features, starting with the camera hardware. The iPhone 15 Pro has a 48 megapixel main camera and a 12 megapixel 0.5x ultra wide, both of which will be functionally identical to the 14 Pro, but are technically a little bit different by the specs. The 48 megapixel count is the important thing here, and it'll allow you to take super high-res snaps that'll be especially good for editing. And while the 0.5x ultra wide is basically the same as the iPhone 14 Pro, be aware the 14 Pro has a 3x 12 megapixel telephoto that the iPhone 15 does not have. Video with this phone goes all the way up to 4K 60 FPS HDR, which is all the resolution and frame rate you'd need, but be aware those video files can get large and the iPhone 15 is stuck with USB 2 transfer speeds. Speaking of speed, the 15 inherited the A16 Bionic Chip from the iPhone 14 Pro, and considering last year I talked about how that was a very fast chip, of course there's no problem with putting it in a base iPhone. But I did say the improvements with the A16 Bionic last year were mostly performance overhead, and that was when the chip was pushing twice as fast a refresh rate, so we're definitely in overkill territory as far as the A16 Bionic in the iPhone 15 goes. That relates to the next carryover feature, the Dynamic Island. I find this one interesting because a lot of the appeal with the Dynamic Island was the smoothness it got from running at 120Hz. It's a very animated feature, so some part of me thinks 60Hz couldn't do it justice. iPhones do have some of the best 60Hz displays, but it's just interesting to me Apple kept the base iPhone refresh rate the same for over a decade, but added a software feature they brought to the Pro model last year. Anyway, the screen surrounding the Dynamic Island can ramp up to 2000 nits max brightness, the very impressive spec from the 14 Pro last year. And the sizes of those screens are 6.1 inches for the iPhone 15 and 6.7 inches for the 15 Plus. It's barely worth saying, but the screen-to-body ratio of both phones increased by about 0.5%. As for the costs of the phones themselves, the base prices this year are $800 for an 128GB iPhone 15 and $900 for an 128GB iPhone 15 Plus. These are the same pricing and storage tiers as last year, so there's nothing to surprise you or really complain about. That's it for iPhone 15 and 15 Plus upgrades. Apple looked at the 14 Pro from last year and made the understandable decision of pushing a bunch of headlining features from that phone into this year's base iPhone models. This isn't exactly a new strategy, but it does seem like there's fewer brand new features that weren't carried over versus previous years. But yeah, the natural, logical choice in my mind is to not buy an iPhone 15 and to buy the iPhone 14 Pro for the same price or cheaper. Apple has an obligation to release 2 new base iPhone models every year, and this year they were closer than ever to last year's Pro models. But you don't have an obligation to buy the latest model by age, so you can feel confident you got a good deal going for the phone that's not in the spotlight right now. Thanks for watching this video, subscribe down below for more quality tech videos, and I'll see you later.